I got to almost get in a fight with Michael Bisping.
Real life or movie?
Oh, dude, it was scary. It was real life.
Okay, what happened?
So...
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a pioneer of tricking and is also a professional stuntman and member of 8711 Action Design. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Jeremy Marinas. What's up, Jeremy?
What's up?
Man, this is pretty crazy. I haven't seen you since New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. Oh yeah. This year.
We partied together.
Oh, I forgot. Yes.
It was a good party. We forgot that we were together.
I just came in 10 minutes like, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. And then, yeah, that was fun. That was good times.
Beyond that, it's been a few years since we've actually gotten to hang out and stuff because you've been pretty busy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's been pretty insane. Where did you just get back from? I know he literally actually just drove here from set, but he's not allowed to talk about that. But what was the last trip you got back from at the end of last year? Start of this year?
The end of last year, I came back from South Africa, so that was fun. I was gone for a year. I was literally gone for home for 7 days last year between shows.
You were over in Cape Town, right? Working on Vin Diesel movie?
Yes, sir. I was there for like 3.5 months working on Bloodshot.
Oh, okay.
And that went well. We're still alive. We're still kicking. Yeah. We made it back.
That's always the goal on these movies.
Yeah. And the goal right now is to stay in town as long as I can, which is going well. Since I got back in like November. I left maybe twice. Once to go to Dominican Republic and once to go to Hawaii.
Ah, yeah, I forgot about the Hawaii.
Working on some. I went to Magnum PI. Well, I just came back from that recently.
Cool.
And then that TV show. We just did a fight last week's episode.
Nice.
Thanks. Shout out to Gary Himes and Garrett Hammond. Is that what
exactly.
we do? That's what we do here. Fighting my friend Holland Diaz.
Exactly.
Has he been on here yet?
No. He's been busy in Hawaii.
He's been gone.
Yeah. And he's got a baby too.
If you don't know Holland Diaz. Spider-Man.
All our friends have babies now. It's so surreal to see. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Are you next, Doug? Anise got a baby. Danny got two babies. That means Jeremy must be next.
I went to Danny Hernandez's daughter's 7th birthday, and it was literally the three Titos. Like, we have the three amigos, right? But we had the three Titos of like 8711, the three mentors. And and I showed up, and I was the only one without a kid. And I was just like...
I failed.
Man, I thought I was like successful, but I feel like a failure right now for sure.
Oh, man.
But no, I'm not in a rush.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, for 20 minutes, I was like, man, I wish I had a kid. And then I was like, man, I'm glad I don't have a kid.
I just coordinated a commercial last week for a toy company, and we shot 9 commercial spots in one day with all kids. And that was it's pretty much live birth control. Yeah, I'm pretty good right now.
I'm pretty sure like helping teach kids like all my life growing up has kept me from having my own kid this long. Because if I stayed in San Jose, I'd probably have 3 by now. Which is weird. You would have thought that would have happened here
in LA of all places. Yeah, but to be fair, you haven't been here. You've been gone traveling like crazy, which is kind of crazy.
Maybe I have some somewhere.
This is true.
No, at least not in the last 2 years.
No, I mean, you've been doing every TV show but Maury Povich, so, until Maury calls, then you're all good, right?
I'm sorry, I'm reaching for Dr. Phil.
They're all stunt credits for
I
now.
thought that was on silent. Sorry. I'm gonna watch.
This guy.
Should I turn that off?
We'll give him 5 seconds to switch this thing to silent, but
I don't know how to work it, so maybe it will take longer than that.
You definitely can, boys. You guys have iWatches. You don't know how to turn on silent. You got to swipe down from the top. I just did it, and then you hit the silent.
But I swiped up.
Okay.
So I do what I want. My technology listens to me.
I mean, you're technically Asian, and you don't know how to use your own technology. You should pretty much just take away your card right now. But fortunately, you do martial arts, so I guess you'll keep it. But yeah, man, it's crazy. The reason why I wanted to have you on here is obviously so many people out here in our audience want to hear from you and about your tricking background.
Me?
You? And for a lot of you out there, me and Jeremy have like a very unique relationship because he's somebody that I grew up watching and seeing videos of on YouTube forever. We had never met until we both moved back to LA around the same time.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like forced to become really good friends with each other because we were all living together at one point in a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 to 5 of us.
That's right.
These are the pre-SAG contract days when we were struggling. And I remember you waking up, going to 8711, sometimes taking showers in the sink, sleeping on the trampoline.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
fast forward to now.
Yeah, fast forward to now. Whew.
When did you move down to LA, man?
Come a long way. So I moved down to LA in 2008, right after 2008's Loop Kicks camp.
Yep. Which we'll get to in a bit.
I just looked at a niece and I was like, hey, boo boo, I'm moving after this weekend. Like when it's done, I'm getting in my car and I'm going. Are you still in? And I think it was that moment where I remember him being like, oh, this fool's not kidding.
You serious?
And so we put all of our stuff in my little Honda Civic. It was 94 purple Civic.
Yup, the purple one.
And we came down and got it done.
Wow, that's crazy,
and
man.
Now we're here.
So did you guys have a plan when you got on the road? Did you have any money saved, or was it just moving down to LA and just trying to make it work?
From the time that I left my front driveway, I had $514 in my name. That was before my dad gave me the little bit of stocks that I had.
Okay.
Which didn't go far.
That would explain why we were all in a 2-bedroom.
Yes. Yeah. I had zero plans.
Okay.
Chad of 8711 was just like, here's your shot. And I said, I'm going to shoot my shot, my one shot. And we just rolled with the punches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. No, it's crazy.
12 years later. 12 years?
Almost 12 years.
Almost
11
12
years.
11
Yeah,
years.
technically 11 years. That's crazy, man.
I keep counting that I think I'm 30 already. But I still have a few months.
You're not 30 yet?
I'm not 30 yet.
Damn.
You've been 30 for a while.
I've been 30 for a minute. Shameful.
Shameful.
Yeah, that's shameful. Anyways, no, but man, so that's really cool. But I guess before this all started, though, we got to go all the way back to the days of young Prodigy.
Oh, God.
And yo, Sam, can you pull up the first video? This is
God.
Let's go. Actually, yo, Sam, pull up the one even before this one. Let's go all the way. Go one more over.
Oh my God! How
Yo,
many videos do you have?
This is the one that I remember seeing way back in the day. This is 13-year-old Jeremy Marinas.
This is not even impressive to watch anymore because the 13-year-olds in Japan are doing crazier than this.
It is, but
you
what?
Can't even pull this up right
but
now.
what year was this when you were 13 though? So if you're 13,
yeah, I was born in 89.
Okay.
Right.
So 89, 99, 2002. So as far as what you're saying is what the kids are doing in Japan is crazy, but this is crazy because as far as vocabulary moves, there weren't that many. You're basically doing all the ones that existed back then.
Yeah.
Which is totally different.
We haven't created them yet.
These are all the tricks that exist.
This was in between my first sampler and my second sampler that Billy posted, and I remember after this sampler, between this time and the second sampler, I was watching my idol Steve Tirada at the time.
Yes,
one of my idols, and watching Chris Blue do some crazy stuff, and apparently Chris Blue was the guy to chase because he was doing double corks first. And then I was like, yeah, well, I was in love with Tirada's style and his way, his smooth combos.
Totally.
And I just wanted to prove everybody that I could do those moves. I just haven't unlocked him yet. So that was cool. This was a cool time for me. I thought it was really cool. I was training to fight as well. I was already fighting kind of just whoever my teacher made me fight. And that was fun. We were doing demos on concrete floor back then at high schools, and football players would come and be like, oh, does that work? And the way I trained for smokers fights was by my teacher telling me to fight every senior football player in the high school.
No way.
And these aren't seniors at my high school. I fought those guys too, but these were random high schools in the ghetto San Jose areas. And it was so as I was tricking, I was just fighting people all the time. So maybe that explains a lot.
Kids, do not resort to violence.
No.
But if you have to,
I haven't had to fight since.
It's all part of the journey, though, man. And that's the thing, though. That's part of my dad's journey growing up. He learned martial arts strictly out of getting jumped every day, growing up in South Central.
He had a rough childhood,
Dude.
or upbringing.
When I think about the things he dealt with, being one of the only Asians in South Central in the 50s, it's like, dude, I have no complaints in life. So what exactly did you study? You went to IMC Academy, is that right? What was your martial arts background, and what did you study exactly? Because I feel like a lot of people want to know how you got so good at tricking in martial arts.
Well, the way I was able to fake getting really good at tricking in martial arts was when I was 4, I started Kajukenbo at a place called Cattengell's Karate School, and it was run by my Sifu Tony Cattengell, who was a really, really interesting dude. He, really, I feel like I just had really crazy teachers who taught me more than just martial arts.
Okay.
Like, let's just chalk it up to that.
Okay.
But from 4 to 12, I did Kajukenbo, and then, the first time I saw tricking was somewhere in there. I was at an A's game with my dad, and we saw the Ernie Reyes West Coast Action
West Coast
team.
demo team.
They were performing at an Oakland A's game.
Okay.
And then I remember back in the day, if anybody knows, Janelle Ginestra is like a huge dancer now.
Totally. Yeah, wildebeest girl.
She was like the original little girl. If you guys pull up the old West Coast Action team, she was like one of the original little girls who would do back handsprings all the way down the floor.
No way, she's one of them?
That was, she was like the main one way back in the day. And I remember being like 6 or something like that. And I didn't know that. I didn't know who she was. I just remember seeing her. And then my dad was like, let's go shake the master's hand. And I guess it was Ernie Sr. I didn't know who he was. Yeah, I wasn't hip to movies,
Surf ninjas.
I didn't know nothing. I didn't
Exactly.
Kino's pop.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, you." And he probably gave me some phony line like,
Totally.
"I see something in you." And then I just remember seeing that, but then I had no connection to what it was. I think some other dude was there, like the guy who invented the trampoline or something. So he did 30 minutes of trampoline, and then and I just remember that game. And I don't remember. I don't watch baseball. And that's not a part of my childhood. Sounds like it was, but I just remember the West Coast Action team.
That's crazy.
Fast forward to I was 9 years old or something at a tournament, and I was sitting in line for my traditional forms contest, and I look over in the next ring. It's an empty ring. Some funny looking dude with jerry curls doing B twists.
Is this Higgity Hans?
And he had a wrist guard.
Oh.
And I stood up out of my line, and I went over. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, it's called tricking."
No way.
It's like, "I'm Hans, by the way."
Yep.
And then that was the start of tricking for me. Was Hans
Wiggling.
I was 8 or 9, and I was like, "Yeah, well, can you do backflips?" And I was an abrasive little kid. I bet you can.
I can imagine.
Mind you, my division is going on.
Totally, you're just looking.
And they're like, "Hey, go back to your division." I was like, "Shh." I was like, "Can you do flares?" And he just pointed at his wrist. That's how I got this.
Okay.
And then I was like, "Show me something." And he was just doing jump crescents and 540s and stuff like that.
Hans was flying back in the days then. He was flying, man.
I mean, I think he was still kind of a baby giraffe himself. I don't think he was killing it yet.
But he was at least doing stuff you hadn't done yet, right? Or
just
a little further in the game.
98, 99.
Totally, yeah. That's when I first saw Steve Trotta. Was 1998, first time I competed against Steve.
Yeah.
And I was blown away just with a flash kick.
Yeah. Steve was the if you could give Steve to me, Steve was, I always call him the bridge between John Valera's era and our era.
100%.
So I just picture him as the fancy, I'm not a nerd, but the bridge in the Thor, the bridge that people take to get to, what's the...
I don't know. We're not nerds.
We just make these movies, man. We don't watch them.
We just die in them.
Yeah, exactly.
We got some angry listener right now God damn it.
Yeah.
The name of it is...
That?
Yeah, we can say that. Oh. We give explicit content and language warnings on iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I would like to try to play up the martial artist, I just won't.
I mean, we watch Shosei clips in here. It's impossible not to get hype and cuss sometimes.
Dude, double cork in, back out. Like, really?
I'm glad to hear that you're watching him though. That's cool, man.
Oh, dude, I
that's
watch
cool.
everything.
So all right. So we jump back. You start seeing Hans doing tricking. So how do you actually get into tricking? Do you start training on your own, or how long is it before you go train with loop kicks?
Ooh, so I didn't train with loop kicks until I was 16. So between nine and then, I was there was three brothers that I grew up in, Alex, Fernando, and Gustavo Hernandez.
You're asking me. I don't know.
No. Well, these guys weren't like big in tricking anywhere, but at Cat and Yells, they were the three guys who like they would pull up the byline site and they'd be like, check these guys out. And I remember Brian Go, Kim Do, Sammy Tu, Chris Blualua. He looked like a cocky little shit. He would do like B twists and then like land with his like.
He had his style, his
pants,
his
ugly
and
ass hair, and then love you, boo boo, and they would be like, try this, and I was like, I'm not scared. So we would do it, and back in the day, Tony Cattengale didn't like us tricking, so he would say like, which was funny because this story will come back full circle, but Tony Cattengale was like, he's like, if you want to go do that fairy tale stuff, that what do you call it? He's like, if you want to prance around like fairies and twirl around like ballet dancers, you can go across the street to West Coast Taekwondo and they'll put tutus on you and you can spin around like that. And I was like, wow. So we had to trick in hiding. Yeah. Like we couldn't just trick at the karate school. And so I remember it was the most amazing thing when the three brothers got a hold of like a 2-inch panel mat and they had it in their living room. And fortunate for me, I skateboarded everywhere. So I was like 9 years old and I would just go and skate to their house and we would just throw tricks onto this mat with my friend Aaron Jackson, who is an amazing meme artist, by the way, on Instagram. He just does a bunch of memes nowadays. Anyways, we used to just skate and trick all day from like 9 to 12.
Just at at their living room or at
their living room. Wow. And then ever since I was 9 at least, or 10, 11, I was at least in 5th grade where my schedule became go to school, skateboard to karate, but then I would go there early because I couldn't just hang out at school or go. I didn't want to go home. I would just go straight to karate. I'd skate in the back. We had like this little ledge. We would just skate. And then when the floor was open, we would trick a little bit and like throw some kicks and kick shields or just fight each other. And then we would do every different class. And then every class we were allowed to do. Like there was sparring, traditional, and then competition class, they called it. Yep. And then my parents would pick me up at the end of the day.
Damn. So how many hours were you there every day?
As a kid, I was there for it was like 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yep. Same.
Yeah. And then like it became really hectic. Like when I went to IMC, which I was like 12.
Okay. Okay.
There was a gymnastics place that was pretty famous in the tricking world back in the day called Pegasus Gymnastics.
Yep, that was pre-Twisters days.
Pre-Twisters days was like where Anise was getting hype. Kim Do was getting hype doing his little Britney Spears.
Yes. There's some classic videos from that one gathering.
Yeah, man. We called that was the magic floor because it didn't matter like how much you hated anybody around. Like if you went to Pegasus, like you were throwing down. Like
cool.
You were going crazy. It was like the jam of back
and this
then.
is back in San Jose, or where is this? Santa Clara?
Jose.
Okay.
This is San
Jose, California. Yep.
Yeah. So it was the only place that had an open gym in the Bay Area or in that area at the time. And on the floor, half of it was loop kicks, who I didn't know. I didn't know they were attached to West Coast. I didn't know anything about them.
Crazy. Okay.
Because the circuit that I trained was or competed in was like NBL.
Which is different from NASCA for those of you out there.
Different from NASCA, and like even NASCA, like West Coast guys didn't really compete NASCA because West Coast had their own tournament system,
their own in-house system.
Yeah, because they have like 50 million schools.
Totally, they rent out their own high schools and have their own in-house competitions that are packed. It's insane.
Yeah,
their black belt ceremonies are full auditoriums.
Yeah. And then so I didn't know that correlation. I didn't know that half those guys were the guys who were in the A's demonstration from when I was a kid, or any of the talk shows that my mom used to watch. They used to do those demonstrations. And so I went to Pegasus, and then in the corner there was a guy named Mirage Bazaar with his team from they called themselves the X Generation.
Yep.
Because West Coast Action Team was the West Coast Next Generation or something like that. And he came up to me, and he was kind of a crazy dude with this crazy energy, but then he was kind of like, it was cool. Like, he was cool. He's like, yeah, we do tricks, okay, cool. He's like, come. So he was just the first guy to talk to me. So 12 years old, I'm over there at IMC, and then I fell in love with them. Like, he was training stand-up from Frank Shamrock, and one of the Gracies he was under one of the Gracies in the Bay Area for jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
But he was only a blue belt when I knew him back then. He's a black belt now. He's really good now. So I was learning little things here and there from jiu-jitsu, but not like we weren't competitively rolling. So while from 12 on, I was already fighting and
doing that
training
side of things,
that kind of stuff. With them.
So how do you jump from not knowing loop kicks to then becoming one of the fixtures that is pretty much associated with them at one point, Like,
apparently they had a lot of beef from the whole West Coast days, because the guys from IMC came from West Coast as well.
Oh,
and so then it was really dumb too. There was just really petty, stupid stuff, just incestual, family problems,
martial arts drama.
Yeah. I mean, I look back at it now, I'm like, that's so funny. I feel like feels like a gangster thing, but not even. It's
you know how sucks. You know about the drama that happens in today's training culture and stuff like that. So it's never ending, Yeah.
So it was just our version of that. And then basically when I left IMC, I actually was gonna quit martial arts completely. I was like, whatever, this is stupid. I was 16. I was like, I broke my foot at one point, so I all I did was eat L&L's barbecue and hang out with my girlfriend and not do anything for a summer. And then I just remember because Luke Kicks would do things like glue our doors shut or throw milk and cereal and honey on our.
So the rivalry was real.
Holy they would just vandalize us.
Wow.
And then. And it's funny because, years later when I hook up with them, they're like, oh, yeah, I remember doing that. That was fun. Lou and Hai and them were just, and Chris Devera, they were just they were like, yeah, we had fun vandalizing your door. And I was like, I had to clean that up. And they were just laughing at me, because since I was 12, my parents, my father was in prison by then, so we couldn't pay for martial arts. So I would just help teach the kids class and clean the martial arts school to pay for martial arts.
Yep.
And then compete. And then so I would be one of the first ones there, so I'd had to clean up all that crap. And then so basically when I left the school, I was just I remember messaging Chris or Kim or somebody, and I was like, hey, just so you guys know, I don't do martial arts anymore, so if I ever see you, because we all hung out in the same spots. Yeah. There's a certain In-N-Out in Milpitas where everybody goes to. There was a certain Edgy's pool billiards place was the only 18 and under or 18 and above place to go play pool. And so we ran into them everywhere, or Pegasus Open Gym and stuff like that. So I ran into these guys all the time. So I was like, just so you know, I'm not associated with these guys. I'm over it. And then Chris Devera didn't ask any questions. He just said hey, we're having loop kicks next week. Why don't you come?
No way.
I was like, it's always been one of my dreams. Because you watch these guys doing amazing stuff, and just because your teacher has beef with them, you're still oh my god, these guys are the best.
Yeah, they were.
I was watching their Tiger Claw sampler.
Totally.
Since,
At one point, the world thought tricking was called loop kicks.
Yes.
People literally were like, are you a loop kicker? Just at one point, people thought free running was called 3-run. Yeah. And people would be like, are you a 3-runner? Like Sam, it's crazy. Yeah. So, Okay, so what year was that Loop Kicks camp? Which year is that?
2006.
2000s?
Oh,
No
you
way.
segued into that smooth so you can pull it
hold
up.
up.
The tab is
Yo,
right
you
here.
know what's crazy though is I didn't know that was the first year that you got invited to that. I thought that you had already been a part of them.
I hadn't known them for more than 2 weeks. Like,
no way.
Like,
when this video came out,
the Loop Kicks camp is the first place I ever saw them.
Sam,
like,
start rolling on this one.
This is the first camp I ever saw them like not on weird terms. The first time I saw Nice was at a Golden Gate Nationals when I was like 14. But this one I'm already 16.
Dude, so wait,
I'm,
so
like,
this is
super
legitimately the first time you were like training with
ever
them.
hung out with them, ever did anything.
Way.
Vince Johnson and Hans and Gemma and Chrissy Conception and Solis came out and Miller.
So for somebody that has known you forever and has been a huge follower of tricking, I didn't know that. Like I literally assumed that you had known them more just because of being up in living up north in San Jose.
This is me trying to like.
You're trying to go off right now.
I'm like trying to prove myself worthy of being around these people.
Wow.
And
what the was that? Were you trying to do double nine there?
No. Tony Jaa just did Ong Bak, so
you did
Ong Bak
9
in my
hyper
combos.
Wow.
And then I doubled Tony Jaa 3 years ago.
Yo, this is crazy.
So yeah, and look at Anise right there in the little baby blue shirt.
I remember this sampler. This was the one where you were just the transition. I remember was the pop 3 to the swing through Webster.
Yeah, I was just doing dumb stuff here. I watch it and I'm like, this is the worst video of me ever.
So how did they receive you here though? Did people show you love right
Danny
away?
Graham, look at him hating on me in the corner. Look, Vince Johnson, stay away, you devil.
So did they not give you props, or did you have to prove yourself?
It was really weird because I don't think they knew how I was going to act. So in this point in time, nobody was really that mean to me or anything. Like we didn't know each other enough because I only came around them in the drama that they had with IMC before I got there. You know what I mean? And it's not even them having drama with IMC. It's more like the old guys on Loop Kicks and the old guys in IMC. Like, it wasn't my drama. It was the teacher's drama. It was stupid. So for me, I was excited to be here. I was like, yo, I'm going to meet Steve Tirada. That was like the main thing. It was like, Steve Tirada? Me and Anise might actually become friends, yo. Like, Rudy.
That's crazy.
It was cool. Like, for me, like, I was geeking out. Like, everybody thinks, like, I put on this, like, Mr. Cool Guy thing. And, like, for me, cool. I was, like, nerding out back then,
I think that's really cool for everyone in the world to hear that even you had an experience where, like, you wanted to meet those guys, Well,
Chris Devera, even back then, like, he had the cleanest kicks in the world.
One of the best jackknives.
Everybody on Loop Kicks had their own personality. Like, Chris Devera was the cleanest kicker. Chris Blue didn't care how he was going to land a trick. He was just going to do it.
Yep.
Hans was all about big pictures, like and high jumps,
Double leg.
Mike Serrano had the fastest wheel kicks in history. You know what I mean? After Ernie Jr. David Bookout had the knife hands.
Yeah.
And he was the closest thing to like a side swipe like guy.
Totally. Man, that's crazy.
But yeah, no, I mean, and I just wanted to prove to everybody that I could hang and I was a cool dude.
Cool.
But then I still came across as an asshole.
So after 06 though, it was safe to assume that at that point you're pretty much closely associated with Loop Kicks. You start training with them every day.
Yeah,
how does that work?
The people I hooked onto really well was like Seshimaru.
Yes.
Kier and I hung out. Kier and I hung out when he was in town. Like most of the time, like Kier and Anise would do this thing where they would do like 6 months in Europe and 6 months in San Jose. So I would hang out with Hans and Kier and Anise, and we would just trick and yeah. I mean, I guess you could say after 2006 was my like entrance into becoming a part of the team, and the team was so big. Like you had half the people didn't really want me there, and half the people couldn't care the less, and like maybe a couple people wanted me there, but
wow.
But I don't know. I was like, well, what else am I gonna do? Like,
totally.
So I'm just gonna train here until somebody tells me to leave.
That's crazy. So realistically, your stint with Loop Kicks was only from 2006 to 2008, and then you moved to LA. That's wild.
Yeah.
It seemed like a lot longer, though.
It seemed like so many things happened.
It seemed like you were a part of Loop Kicks forever, to be honest with you. So this is mind-blowing to me.
Well, because when we came out here, we were still repping them.
Yes, that's true. I guess that's probably why.
Because
you
in
were still repping them
2009,
for quite some time.
I was still saying Loop Kicks, 2010, 2011, 12. There's a 6-year stint. And remember, before you're 20, 6 years is
totally
a fourth of your life.
So how do you think training with them affected you? Did it help you increase your skill and the amount of moves you were landing, being able to surround yourself with guys like Anis and Hans and them? Or what do you think that big change happened was when you got to be surrounded by them?
Well, so we had like a drive at IMC. That was a good thing about IMC guys over there, was like we always just pushed each other. So that was already there. But when I came to Loop Kicks, you had the heavy hitters of tricking, like the heavy hitters. So like, it wasn't, am I going to be motivated to hang? It was like, okay, I just got to be like hang with the workouts, but I got to be motivated to hang like skill wise. And like, living in Anis and Danny's shadow for a couple of years, like really pushed me to kind of like bring myself up.
Totally. Yeah.
The most, like one of the most memorable things was like Anis saying to me, I was like, how are you so good? I would say things like that. I'd be like, what are you doing? Like I'd be trying to get the secrets,
what's the tip? Yeah.
And he's like, boo boo. He's like, you see that floor? It's like, just when we pull up in the parking lot, I'm the first one on the floor and I'm the last one off. I was like,
wow.
Okay.
So he
challenge
inspired
accepted.
that in you. Yeah. Holy
challenge
crap.
accepted.
Wow.
So that was just one of the things that I remember in East. And then there's like all these other trickers that have like little tidbits that I always just like.
That's pretty crazy to me though, because as long as I've known you, you've been the dude that's the first to get there and the last one to leave. And we always joke about it. When you trick with Jeremy, you can tell why he's so good, because it's about most reps wins. Like we'll be in a line and you may finish a combo, and instead of waiting in line, someone else will go. You'll just go again. Like you don't always wait, but you're just getting the most reps in always.
Yeah, I didn't come to pussyfoot. We came to do work.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess that's also what has kept me away from like training at Jam so much or White Lotus, because when I had the keys to 87, I could just trick by myself and nobody can tell me when to go and when not to go. So I could do a full 2-hour tricking workout in, 30 minutes if I wanted to, but then it would end up being 2 hours anyways. You just go until you gas. Plus there was a little bit of like, what am I doing in my secret time? Like,
of course.
I'm not going to show everything. Like I still don't show everything
of course
on my
not.
Instagram.
People don't know. People have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And then people just think they have a clue, but I mean, that's kind of part of what martial arts is, right? It's like,
So, I mean, this is a question that I'm just solely asking because I feel like a lot of people out there will want to know it, which is growing up in those pivotal years before you moved down to LA, how many days were you training per week and how many hours per week were
before I moved to LA?
Before you moved to LA, yeah.
Oh, before I moved to LA, it was pretty chill in terms of like, because we didn't have access to a lot of gyms.
So you're based on
then.
Whenever you could get to the gym.
Yeah, like I think Paramount Gym was where we were training last in Santa Clara before Twisters, and it was like only available like 2 days of the week.
Okay.
And then in between we would train on the grass. But the thing about that was we knew we only had two days at the gym. So
hard.
Those 2 days always counted. Like I see kids coming to the gym and like not making that time count. Like 2 days at the gym, like first one's on, last one's off. Plus we trained on like grass sessions.
Yeah, of course.
Like, but I mean, back then it wasn't like a strict like schedule.
No, kids nowadays have it good. They can go to trampoline parks. They can go to open gyms every day. They can watch videos on their cell phones. Like it's absolutely insane. And what you said about having 2 days a week, it almost equates to why I always joke about guys in the UK being the best at parkour. It's because the damn rainy season happens like 9 months out of the year. So the 3 months it's dry. They're savages. They train all day, morning, sunrise to sunset.
Well, places like London and Russia too, they have to fight like weather conditions that we don't have to. You know what I mean? Like when you get to LA, it's like going to an Equinox or something where like only the people who could afford it are training there, not the people who have to train, you know?
Totally.
You go to the like most ghetto gyms and that's where you're going to get the people pushing and screaming screaming and grunting and smells.
Oh yeah.
You know, but you know, even when we do films on location now, we'll either get a deal at a nice gym, and you know, our maintenance training while we're shooting 12 hours a day on location is still harder than the soccer mom who is a real estate crazy,
totally,
or a lawyer or something that, you know, is like just trotting on the treadmill. They're looking at us like, what are you doing? Training to fight? Like, people are always like, are you a fighter? And I'm like, no, but if I tricked you, then I'm doing
good.
my job.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. So you didn't train too much up there. You were just training an average amount of time, which is...
After I left IMC, because when I was in IMC, until I was 16, it was like 6 hours of training, like a hard thing. And then, again, I was going to quit. I was going to quit. So, like, for those 2 years of not doing martial arts, it was like finding my passion, my love for it again. You know?
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people have come, like... when they burn themselves out as kids, no matter what sport they are. But I remember, like, even Rudy Raynon, like, had a period in time where he's like, I don't want to do that no more. And then you had to realize years later, like, oh, dude, you're gifted, man. You can't stop. You just got to do something, at least something.
It was a big problem for me. When I was 14, I got burned out because my parents were my coaches. So it's like you go home and you're like, damn, my coaches are still here and I'm pissed off at them. Yeah. So that was really tough. I remember that I quit and just completely got away from it for like 2-3 years. Yeah. But it was during that time I discovered a lot of other things I loved, like dancing and parkour and stuff. So it was cool. Yeah, it worked out.
Travis was always trying to do the most. Like,
you know it, dog.
Like him and Andrew Ng. Like,
shout out to Andrew Ng, man.
Shout out to Andrew Ng. He's a papa now.
He is. He's on the list too.
That's so crazy.
Man, all right, yeah.
But, you know, I was just trying to train as much as I could, but they were trying to train as many things as they could. You know,
we were diversifying the portfolio.
Yeah, you know, Travis was practicing his voices in the corner in between sets, and then like doing chest pops. I'm like,
and then Red Bull hits.
He's like doing chest pops. Like, what are you trying to dance? He's like, no. Hi, this is Travis Wong. You are watching American Parkour, whatever.
Man, I was just trying, man. We were all trying to find our way at that very pivotal time. It was crazy. It's cool that we all got to come here around the same time.
Yeah. It's cool to see the many different paths of success too.
Yeah.
I feel like every one of us who started in that area, like, or around that era, that time, like, just found a way.
We're like our own generation within the stunt industry right now. Like, we're like we're like the up and coming gen where our
up and coming old guys.
Yeah, we're the up and coming guys where we're about to run the shows, but we're not running them fully yet. Yeah. So yeah. All right, so I gotta ask you about this. The last thing that I have to talk to you about regarding your tricking up north before you moved down was the legendary 2008 battle.
Hi.
Which is still, if you could play this, is still heralded as probably the battle of all time.
Oh, Crazy Half Asian?
Yeah, Crazy Half Asian, right?
I think what's his name? Yeah.
So back when this battle happened, I mean, I don't know, to this day, people still credit this as being probably one of the hypest group battles of all time. It was a 3-on-3-on-3. And was this battle something that was planned before the week started, or did this only form like at the end of the week, right at the night show? Like,
no, I think there was a lot of people who hated each other at this time. So, I mean, I think this was like the emotions were real because, you know, not hated. Nobody really hated each other. But you had
competitive rivalries.
Yeah, competitive rivalry. Like Anise and Danny were like best friends, but like hated each other just as much at this time because Danny wanted to prove to everybody he was as good as Anise. And I was just trying to ride those coattails and trying to like hang on the back. Like I'm the friend on the saddleback on the bike. And then like you have the Paul Mitchell guys who are like representing for the NASCA like main competitors, the guys who always win. And then you got Seshimaru who's like, I'm just a diehard loop kicks guy and I do the craziest stuff and I just came to be crazy. And then Kyle McLean over here with the hair.
The king of the round-off.
He just was the king of not giving a shit about anything. He also, I think, didn't like me at all.
This is what was funny was Anise did a round off right then. I was like, you guys are doing a round off game and Kyle McLean's here. Plus you have Luke Brodlick, who was loving round offs back then, but I remember Kyle shut it down.
I think back then, like, I didn't have technically an ankle problem yet. Like a real one, but like I was wearing an ankle brace because I thought it was cool. Probably, I remember at one point I saw that somebody do that, and then I copied it. I think Tirado might have done it, but he probably really had problems.
Yeah, for real.
This guy Luke was like the fastest twister back then.
He was next level twister. A lot of people forgot about Luke because he had a really quick jump into the entertainment industry when we all moved to LA. Yeah. So he kind of disappeared.
Well, quicker. He also like fell in love with. See, I couldn't land anything. Whoa. I think that was a full X out.
Was it?
Yeah, I wasn't really doing full snappoos. Like I liked full X out fools back then.
And young Sammy V,
Sammy was trying to come after me. Boo Boo always thought I hated him for whatever reason. I had this thing where I was just unapologetically honest with people all the time, and
of course,
the two big like ones in my life were because I respected them so much were Anise and Sammy. And with Anise, he was like, "How was this in training?" And I'd be like, "That was garbage." And he'd be like, "Why are you so mean?" And I'm like, "Well, you're Anise, so like even a decent thing."
You hold them to a higher standard.
Yeah, like even a decent thing is not good for you.
Yeah.
And so, like, we used to fight all the time. So you're a fucking dick. I was like, well, I'm not just going to, like, all these little boys here running around clapping their hands, they're going to tell you that's cool. Like, even though I knew I was under them skill-wise, I was still like, I'm going to say, like, I'm going to push you because I want to see you get angry and just do some crazy shit just in spite of me. Like, I'll be the bad guy for a second just to see you go, book you, and then do something crazy,
right?
And eventually me and Denise worked that out. But like with Sammy, man, like we barely hung out and we barely saw each other. So every time we did, he just always thought I had like said something, or he'd be like, yo, boo boo, I heard you was talking shit.
This is a special moment. This is world's
the first
snafu swing
gainer
in a battle by Rudy Raynon.
Was that before or after Matt? Is Matt in there, or that's what made Matt
gets hurt
hype?
After this?
That made Matt hype as fuck. So he decided to do a one-step double leg twist.
For those of you out there, what's crazy about that is the world's first time that was landed, and it's mid-battle. And I remember that week you told me that you both had been chasing that combo, right? You both were trying to do snafu swing.
He was chasing it, and then I was like, I'll try it because if I do it first, it would piss him off. I wasn't like actually chasing it.
You're just doing it to do it.
I was just doing it.
This is the moment. So this is where Matt gets broken.
And then he goes, hold on. Box cutter to split, which nobody really see. Oh, no.
Oh.
Did he do it already? I
thought he just broke his leg right there.
Box cutter to split.
Just broke his leg right there.
And then we finished the battle not knowing what was going on. I'm still chubby. And
this is where they Matt's hurt, no one knows. They then are Paul Mitchell's like, holy crap, we're down a guy, let's find Wayne Dalglish, who's in the crowd.
It's so crazy. Oh, Wayne was there.
Wayne Dalglish comes out.
I totally forget.
Danny Graham just tried to do Cali roll.
I don't think we like cared who was watching at this point. We were all just trying stuff.
What was crazy earlier in the battle was there was a section where everyone was doing shuriken box cutter, which like was the move of 2018.
Yeah, it's so funny to me that kids think it's so cool this year. I'm like, I mean, now they're done because of Shosei, Snatch Cannon, everything. But
and they're doing the shuriken now, which is the triple, so it's shuriken box,
crazy,
double box. Yeah, that's wild. Man,
crazy.
So I have a question for you. When you're battling in these battles, like, did you already have preset combos in your head?
Never.
Okay.
Never. You never have a preset combo.
So you just were going out there going wild.
Unauthentic way of being in front of that's like if I were to like in my truck like writing all the things that I like.
Some b-boys have sets, and then they just bring out certain sets. But
you have your comfort go-to moves, right? And double back wasn't Wayne's. Obviously.
Wayne Dalglish, man. Just kidding. shout out to Wayne.
That came out of nowhere.
He would have landed if he had a bow staff, though. Let's be honest.
Or if he had a haircut.
I just talked to Wayne the other day, actually, funny enough. Shout out to you, Wayne. Thanks for giving me a job.
He's been at 87 like for the last
No
few weeks, like prepping a show actually.
Okay.
So I run into him like a lot.
I'm glad because thanks to him being busy, I got another show this weekend. Shout out to you, Wayne. Thanks for the work.
People who are not in the stunt community won't understand that.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy, man. All right. So when you battle, how do you battle then? Are you responding to people based on the moves they did and trying to one up it, or
well, back when I was battling, I knew that even if I couldn't do what you did, I was gonna do it in that moment. So it didn't matter. Like
what the fuck?
And then so like the first thing, like especially here, like I was like, okay, as soon as people start doing double corks, I know that I won't be able to like hang combo wise. So I'm just going to do something nobody has done yet. So I did 1080 to split.
Yeah. To start the battle.
Like to start the battle. In 2009, that was before Danny did the first Hurricane to split, which was crazy. But like I did it from a B-twist setup, which back then, like nobody was using like B-twist as much for setup or like, or even doing like, you know, like, Mark and Kim Do had been doing 1080s for a long time, and like a lot of people have been doing 1080s, but like nobody was really doing them like into or out of things.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, totally.
So like,
yeah.
I remember Chris Devera was always doing 720 and jackknife to split, and I was like, what can I do? I'm just gonna go out there and just do something that would make people go, "What? Did he just do that?" And then I remember doing it and being like, "Oh, that was cool," and walking away and be like, "Cool." And then, so by the time the double cork like extravaganza came up, I was like, okay, if I don't land, I'm not gonna kill myself.
You have other
tonight.
stuff,
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no. When I would battle, it was just like I wouldn't call it defensive, like because like when I fight, it's not defensive. It's very much aggressive.
Yeah.
But I like as I'm walking you down, I'm letting you throw first.
Totally counterpunching.
Yeah, so I'm an aggressive counterpuncher.
Yeah.
If you could say anything, but I guess that's the way I am, like even in person, like I'm like kind of abrasive so that I can see what you're going to say.
Totally.
Like
yeah,
people think I just say
testers.
really dumb shit, which I do. I like it because you can't take yourself too serious.
Totally.
But
you keep people on their toes. I know this.
Yeah, but and then you either take it really personal and then we never hang out, or you know you understand what's going on and you realize I'm full of shit. And then once you
take it or leave it, yo.
Learn how to dismantle me, then you realize it was really not that bad.
Totally.
And you know what? Like, there's been so many times where I'd like try to change the kind of person I am, and I was like, you know what, dude, I don't need to do that. Like, people are either gonna
take it or leave
be
it
here or not. So,
man, well, one thing that I've always noticed was, like you talked about, your work ethic has always been second to none. You've always been someone that, I don't know if it's an attitude of like you against the world, or you just want to prove that you can be the best at something, but it translated so well into stunts to the point that, like, I remember we moved down around the same time. We both started around the same time, but it wasn't before long that your career just took off, and we saw you working on tons of films and movies and stuff. Yeah. So can you just give the people a little bit of intro about how you became a part of 8711? And for those of you out there that don't know, 87 Action Design is basically hands down premier stunt team in the world, recognized for doing some of the biggest blockbuster action films of the world, ran by Chad Stahelski and David Leitch. You may recognize those names because they're the guys that directed John Wick, the movie, created the franchise. Movies, directed 1 through 3. And David Leitch also directed Deadpool 2. Yeah. So they're starting to break into mainstream, you know? Yeah, and Atomic Blonde.
Which I cannot say what I'm doing right now, but Charlize is who I'm working with right now.
Hell yes.
Prepping with Charlize on her next project. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, now that we've hyped the hell out of 8711 being this premier group, how did you become a part of them? And tell people a little bit about your story of how you got into stunts.
Yeah, I mean, in a abbreviated story version of it, I guess back when I was training at Loop Kicks at this gym that's called Paramount Gym, where that Loop Kicks battle happened, Kim Do came up to me one day and said, excuse me. Whew. Good thing you can't smell that.
Kim Do, man, damn.
Kim Do
causing indigestion.
Yeah. Ouch. No. Kim Do got a call from John Valera saying, hey man, we're looking for somebody to double B-Rain on Ninja Assassin.
Yep.
He's like, I need a 6'2" Asian dude who can flip.
Yeah.
And do, and look just like Rain. So he's like, send a video of you doing these certain things for an audition with somebody. And, he could have picked anybody in Loop Kicks. And, Anise was there as well. So I always thought, for some reason, he thought Anise was a threat. So he asked me to help him with his audition.
Is that what that video was? That little sampler where there's little fighting clips, or is that somebody else?
So there's a little sampler back in the day. That was like my audition to 87. Because they said, go make a video of things that you can do. Because I didn't even know what a reel was.
Yeah.
Only thing I ever saw that was a reel was either Dean Alexandria or Keir. And they called them show reels.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I always thought that was a head like shake worthy thing. I don't know why show reel was like a thing,
Totally.
But this sampler. Oh no, this was after. Yeah, no, this was.
This is before.
No, this is not even the video that I made for 87. I made made a video for 87, like showing what I can do.
So okay,
and it had me doing like wushu doilians in it, and I never did wushu.
You're fighting somebody in this video. Who are you fighting in this video?
That's Chris Devera. Chris Devera is the guy who taught me to kick the way I kick. And, and he used to drill me and Anise, and like we'd be drilling at the gym, and then we'd go get drunk in his backyard.
So this is Chris.
And that's Chris Devera.
Crazy.
The leader of Loop Kicks for a long time.
Okay.
And he would drill us kicking like at the gym and in his backyard while we were like, having beers and occasionally having a cigarette.
Crazy. Okay, so this was Chris Devera in this video, your early choreography, but then you made a specific video with Kim to go to 87.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then did you guys get invited down to train or?
Yeah. So what happened was, I was doing everything through Kim at this point. It was like, hey, can you do this video with me? Okay. Hey, I have to go to LA in a week. It wasn't even a week. It was like, I'm leaving in 2 days. They want you to come. And I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
He's like, I think this will give you a chance to train with them and audition. And I'm an idiot because I didn't know what an 8711 was. I didn't know stunts in LA or stunts in America was a thing. Like I just assumed people appeared on screen and they were actors who did things.
Yeah.
And then if you were in China, you were a stuntman because you worked with Jackie Chan. Like I didn't know this world.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know what 87. And basically, I show up and the first time we come here, we're sleeping on Arnold Shawn's couch.
Okay.
In like Burbank or something like that, somewhere in the valley. And we're waking up super early, and they've got Kim on this like diet because they've already decided they were going to use him for the double.
Assassin. Okay.
But I don't know what I was there for. I was just there for 2 weeks. I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, and I didn't know that was like an audition for me.
Yeah, they're testing you.
I was like in love with my girlfriend at the time, and after a week, I was like, I can't be gone this long. I gotta go home.
Yeah.
So I like went home.
No way.
Like nobody knows that.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta go home, man. I don't. I gotta go deal with family problems.
Wow.
And then like now knowing what real family problems are, I was
yeah.
like, oh man, they were probably like, this guy's lying.
Yeah.
Like
You're just a young kid.
Yeah. So basically, I made that video. I came JV, Jojo Eusebio, second unit directed Deadpool 2, and now Birds of Prey.
Yep.
Him, John Valera, and Danny Hernandez, and then Matty Rugetti actually taught me how to wreck for the first time.
No way.
He was
on my first movie run, Twilight.
Yeah, he was on the old 87 team before they turned into Damon Carr's team.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great guys from there, and so I had a 2-week crash course of like, it was crazy too because like you think like I would show up and like. People come to the 87 morning class sometimes and they do the drills and they're like, this is hard. And I'm like, no, boo-boo. I showed up, they put a shinai in my hand and they said, go fight while doing parkour on these blocks. I'd never done a fight scene. And they would they'd be having Kim Do do like 6-man fight scenes with a rope dart and a sword or something. And then like, I'd be like, okay, well, I can just chill here and be an ND guy and fight. And then, when I was least paying attention, one of them would say, Jeremy, yeah, get in the middle.
Yep.
And then I'd have to learn Kimdo's piece. And then like once I learned it, they would be like, okay, go in so-and-so's place. And then I'd learn another place. And then I'd know like 6 different positions, you know, in a fight. And I didn't know what they were doing. I was just like losing my mind because they put us on crazy diets. They made us do CrossFit before it was called CrossFit. Like, oh yeah, it was gnarly.
I remember there wasn't a day you guys weren't throwing up.
Yeah. We were just throwing up, which like now you say that and like everybody's going to listen to this podcast. Like, they're idiots. They were throwing up every day. They're trained
until they threw up.
They're doing that. That's like not smart.
It was hard training though, man. Yeah. I got to go down there for a little bit and join you guys, and it was rough, man. Yeah. I remember we showed up for a previs, and they would make us do 2 hours of circuit training and lifting before, and then expect you to pick up a weapon. I was like, I can't move my arms, but they're like, too bad, boo boo. Here it is, you know. And it was rough, man.
Yeah. So and then after the 2 weeks, eventually I was hanging out at home because I went home and I was all whatever. Yeah. And they were like, okay, if you want to come back and train, come train when we come back from Ninja Assassin. I was like, yeah, whatever. And then like still, it didn't really like hit me like what I was doing and what the future was gonna hold.
Yeah.
And then eventually one day I remember I was probably just in my boxers without a shirt, just like middle of like summer, and I get a call. It's like ring ring. Hello, who's this? He's like, it's Chad. Chad who? And he's like, you just hear this like sigh.
Yeah, of course.
8711, the fucking company you're trying to fucking work for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, sir, how's it going? He's like, oh, you know, just trying to make you guys, get you guys job opportunities. I'm in Berlin running a fucking movie. You don't even know who I am. He didn't say that, but it felt like
that's how it felt to you because you felt so dumb. You're like,
I felt so stupid.
Yeah.
And then he was like, look, you did a great job when you were here. He gave me this 1 hour talk about how like you're gonna want to come to LA and be a fucking actor, and it's not all glorious doing stunts. You're gonna move pads, you're gonna clean pads, you're gonna prep fire burns, you're gonna get hit by cars, you're gonna fall off buildings, He's like, he went off on this whole spiel on how like you're not gonna be a star. Like that's not what this gig is.
Totally.
Like, are you still interested? It's gonna suck. And I was like, that sounds amazing. So, then I moved down to 87.
Okay.
Or I moved literally.
To LA, yeah.
Moved to LA. And at some point, we taught, me, Kim, and Anise taught a seminar at XMA where I met Travis
Wong. That's where I met you, man. Shit.
And Andrew Eng. And
that's crazy. That is when I met you. Was at a tricking workshop you guys taught. I was at college, actually. It was my senior year at college. Yeah. I saw that online, and I wasn't going to go. But I had a buddy of mine, shout out to Daniel Sousa, who has never tricked a day in his life. He still doesn't trick. He was just one of my good friends. But he used to always watch these videos with me. And he was like, dog, we got to go see these fools live. And I was like, you don't even trick. Yeah, but he carpooled with me, bro. He carpooled with me down to LA because you were there from Santa Barbara. Because you were there. Anise was there. Kier was there.
Didn't we do a random show in Santa Barbara once?
Yeah. Oh, you did. And Anise did a 540 and almost broke the guy's wrist that was holding the microphone.
That's right.
That was crazy. But yeah, no. So yeah, that's really, really wild, man. So I remember meeting you at that thing. Then I went back to school, and then I moved back down like after I graduated, and you had already been down here training and established, I guess.
Well, I had already just been in the mode of like, cool, I don't own my own life anymore, and whatever anybody else
stunt life.
Yeah, it was like I'm just gonna ride this train and see where it takes me. I still don't think I realized what train I was on until I went to my first movie.
Yeah, and what was your first movie?
Expendables, the first Expendables.
Totally. And what was your role in that? Were you ND stunts?
Well, my first run movie.
Yes.
You know what that means.
Which, to those out there, that means the first time he went out of town on a movie for pretty much the whole time, which is usually a couple months at a time, up to a year or more.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you could have a short run, I guess, like a 2-week run. But
if you're on the run, you're on the whole movie, basically.
Yeah, I was on the core team the first time ever, and I was 19 years old.
Crazy.
And we went to Brazil, which was crazy, and we went to Nolans,
New
Orleans.
Yep.
So yeah, that was just the start of it.
Crazy. And were you hooked right away, or did you know you wanted to do this for the rest of your life?
No. I knew I was gonna do martial arts all my life to some certain capacity, but I was just like, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna stay here and hang out for a while.
Okay.
That's what it was.
And then what kept you here? Was it the checks that kept you going? Was it
The checks were definitely
the checks were nice? Yes.
a good thing. I was like, wait, you mean I don't have to go to college? I don't have to interview and I mean, I guess you do to some degree. You gotta hustle a little bit, but at some point I realized that if I just did what I was told, that 87 would kind of take care of me.
Yeah.
And they have.
It's just like a path to follow. Yeah.
And it was funny because there's a legendary stunt guy named Tim Rigby. And I don't know if he knows that he ever said this to me. But I was helping run a show called After Earth for Jaden Smith and Will Smith. And this is when I realized I was not shit. I was running around helping choreograph some stuff and doing this, and there was 60 kids stunt people or 30 kids stunt guys, second generation stunt people, and then Tempest. Most of Tempest was on that, and then all the old generation Chris O'Hara, Chris Palermo. I think Palermo was out there, but Tim Rigby was out there. And anyways, he saw me going back and forth doing all this work, and then finally at one point during the week that he was there, he cornered me. He didn't corner me. I just ended up in the right place at the right time. I was in the middle of something where I was really stressed. And he's like, hey. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to do his accent. But he was like, you're doing okay for yourself. I was like, thank you, sir. He's like, I mean, you're not doing anything special. You're really just doing what Chad told you to do, and you keep doing it, and you keep succeeding. He's like, and you have no idea in this stunt world or in this industry how hard that actually is for some people. But I hear good things because you're actually just doing what you're told, and just don't fuck up.
Wow.
It wasn't keep going, you can do it. He was just you're not doing anything special, but you're just doing what you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Now don't fuck that up.
Yeah, totally.
And I was just I walked away and I was I thought I had morals. I thought I was brave. I thought I talked shit to anybody. And he just alone, man to man in a room was don't fuck up. And I was in my head, I wanted to be that was rude. But then at the same time, I was man, it was kind of inspirational.
Yeah.
And then I just remember that moment.
Wow.
And I didn't even know to what capacity Tim Rigby was Tim Rigby.
Yeah.
I didn't understand half the people.
And now you're wow, that was some advice from a real solid individual who didn't have to tell me that really.
Yeah. And he probably don't that. He probably don't.
It was probably just 10 seconds in his day. Yeah.
Yeah. He has no idea.
Wow, that's crazy. I've had some talks with coordinators like that where they've said something that stuck with me that I'll never forget to this moment. So.
Please, I've been talking so much.
Yeah.
No.
Because I'll tell you two pivotal moments in my life, guys.
Yeah,
Here's
please.
number one right now. Number one pivotal moment was not a coordinator. It was my Econ 101 professor.
I think you've mentioned this before.
Mr. Crouch. He was the grumpiest professor I ever had. And this was day one of college. I went in as an accounting major. Shortly after this, I stopped going to class completely in college. I went to UC Santa Barbara, which I lived there. I didn't go to school. But I'll never forget Econ 101, day one. I walked in there. I'm one of 600 people in the room. We're all sitting there with our pads and our notepads out. Kids have their laptops out. They're trying to write down every word he says verbatim. And he literally said something to the effect of, haha, look at all you losers and nerds out here trying to write down everything I'm saying. And he said, everyone, listen to this. The most important thing you'll learn in college is what I'm about to say right now. It's nothing you'll learn in your textbooks, but if you can go out on a Friday night and within 10 seconds meet somebody and leave an impression on them, it's more valuable than anything you'll learn in this textbook or in my class. And I never forgot that for the rest of my career, my college life, my life now in the industry. And it's totally true. It's if you can go out and within 10 seconds meet a stranger and leave an impression on them, that's probably more impactful than anything that you can do in your life,
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Huh.
So.
What was his name? What was your
Professor Crouch, and he was so grumpy. I think he had
I'm
created
gonna name him
Reaganomics.
Professor Crouch.
I think he created Reaganomics, which essentially failed.
What is it called?
Reaganomics. It was during the Reagan administration.
Oh, Reagan. Oh, I thought it was like reggae.
No.
So what is this? Please.
No, and I swear that it failed, but like because he had been part of like a presidential administration and stuff, he was like on tenure. So like they couldn't fire him if he sat in class and said "fuck you" to all the kids. You know, he was vetted in there. So yeah, I'll never forget that, man. So,
I thought I was promised a beer when I came here.
To be fair, actually, when you called me and we were gonna do this, you said you were gonna bring them. But
I did, and then you're like, "But I think I have some in the fridge."
Oh, that is true too, actually. Anyways, I can't even imagine what would happen if we drank. We've had some funny times.
Come on, you got the Joe Rogan setup. You might as well go all the way.
Exactly.
I'm surprised you don't have bong out.
I know, right? Yeah. I mean, that Elon Musk episode, it only cost him $200 million when he lit that joint up.
Jesus.
So I have a question. What's been the favorite project you've worked on? You've done so many. I know you've worked on everything from, like you said, Expendables to, I know you worked on Avengers, right?
Yeah.
What's been the favorite project? You've doubled Tony Jaa. What's something that's been the most rewarding or most memorable?
Dude. So as like being in it for 11 years now, you know, in the beginning you're like, oh, this movie, because I got to meet this person and that person, this person, and you know, I've been kind of like fight coordinating, doing my own stuff on not so many 87 projects lately, because they've been sending me out to their friends, because in the 87 world, I'm not first on the list. Like, there are elders ahead of me. All my mentors that, like, if there's an open spot for like a fight coordinator or something, they're gonna go to them first and at least talk to them, see if they're interested. So there was like, you know, JJ or Chad or any of those guys would send me off to like Bob Brown, or send me off to somebody or Darren Prescott or something, Chris O'Hara, like send me off to go and see if I could make an impression on them to try to get jobs.
Totally.
So I never got to actually like do a full 87 job with the 87 crew in a while. True. If you think about it.
You're actually right. I never thought of that.
I've had to work with a lot of locals in a lot of different places. So I've had to learn how to be a little more impersonable to people, be a little less abrasive, but still have my Jeremy stank on it. But as I go through the years, like, it's not about like who I met on what movie and why it was cool, but it was like, because we do such long runs away from home. Yeah. It's like, which movie did I have the most fun on just hanging out with my friends? And even the last one on that, like, where it was almost like carefree and all natural, was like 2013, the first animated Ninja Turtles. Oh, snap. You know, like, 6 months in New York with Anise and Danny and John Valera, Dave Leach, and all the locals out there, meeting a bunch of new people, and we just thought we like ran the world, which was funny because in New York you feel so small. Yeah, you're tiny. But I remember Boo Boo Kyle McLean was new to Stunt, so he came and he visited. We got Matt Imig out there as Master Splinter at one point, and you know, it was just a fun experience because you hung out with these people at work and off work, and like, it was cool just looking around and being like we grew up together, like this is us now, and then like you can appreciate that. And then now it's like not even the full jobs that I have fun on, it's the jobs where I actually get to see my friends, like when we did Venom and hung out in Atlanta, and you know, like that was fun, because a lot of jobs, like at some point it becomes work, it becomes a job. Totally. But if you were like waiting for me to say like who was my fun person to work with, like Donnie Yen was a big one. Like, okay. Donnie Yen was like, me and John Valera were the fight coordinators on Triple X and Triple X3. Yeah. And I remember Donnie coming in, like, he wasn't difficult. He was amazing with us, but like the first few days where we didn't really know him and the director weren't really meshing well.
Yeah, totally.
And there was they were yelling at each other on set, and they were trying to solve a problem. And I was like, Uncle John, I think I'm gonna say something because we have the answer. He's like, we should just let it play. I was like, no, dude. And I just let it go on. It was going back and forth. Finally, there was like an awkward silence. And then I forgot what I said. But I remember just being like, we can do this. And then they kind of dismissed me like, you idiot.
Yeah.
Like, and John was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I like at least let my voice be known in the room. Yeah. And, you know, we were working for Bob Brown then. And I was like, I gotta prove to Bob Brown, I gotta prove to Donnie Yen, you know, that we're, you know. So I remember just remembering the main thing was Donnie thought like, he was like, I don't have my crew. He's not in his home.
Totally.
It's an uphill fight. All the director wants him to do is Ip Man. He's like, I'm more than Ip Man.
I don't want to be that.
And he's like, and the reason that's so special is because that's a tribute to a legend. And
totally. It's very specific.
When I play that character, that's that character. You know what I mean? And then I said something again. And they were just like, oh. And then there was a chance there, and they're like, you know, I mean, and when I say like it kind of helped diffuse a little bit, like they were saying some stuff like the guy was like, the director was like, I've been directing for 13 years. And he was like, I've been doing movies for 40 years. Yeah. Like, it was like crazy. And I somehow like helped it out. And then I was like, we're going to be okay, John. And then we met him in his trailer for the first time. And he was eating like chicken wings. And he was like, so this is what I was thinking for the character. And I was like, oh, dude, crazy. I think we're in with Donnie.
Yeah,
like,
he feels comfortable now.
And like, I just remember we did so much fun stuff. I won't continue with like so many stories on that show because on that same show, I got to double Tony Jaa.
Yep.
I got to work with so many people. I got to almost get in a fight with Michael Bisping.
Real life or a movie?
Oh, dude, it was scary. It was real life.
Okay, what happened?
So Michael Bisping was he was there to replace Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was supposed to do the movie.
Totally.
But he got beat by Nate.
Yeah.
So he was like, fuck your movie. I'm going to get good so I can beat Nate.
Totally.
So they were like, cool. There's me and JV were like, oh, dude, we can't wait to meet Conor. He's a shit right now. And
shout out to you, Conor McGregor. I'm a big fan. Shout out to you, Conor. I wasted lots of my money on your fights going to all of them live. I went to Mayweather McGregor. I went to Mayweather.
Oh, that's
I could have bought a car, bro. Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Back to your story, though. Let's not think about all the money I've wasted.
But it's okay. You're Travis Wong. We're just creating money. Look.
Yeah, we're trying. So Michael Bisping comes on to replace Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and he's awesome. You just have to be able to hang with his crazy English, like wit and comedy, you know?
Yeah.
And the whole time before he comes, I know that John Valera was with me, but he was going to leave early because he was going to do another show.
So you'd be there by yourself.
So I'd be by myself. I was like 27. I was still kind of insecure. And I was like, if Conor McGregor comes here, he's also 27. And he's a martial artist and he's an active fighter. He's got a lot of testosterone in his body. Like, there's going to be maybe a point because people don't understand this. Like, people think you just show up on set and you're the cool stuff guy and everybody wants to work with you. No. Everybody thinks you're an idiot, first of all. Second of all, if you're the fight guy, people are like, what martial arts do you do? So you're still proving yourself, even though you're
already hired on the job.
You're hired on the job. I was hired 23. I was starting to get hired as a fight coordinator.
Totally.
You know? And people are like looking at me like, you look like you're 12. Like, what do you do? So I'm like prepping myself like, okay, dude, if Conor McGregor comes here and he's a complete dick, I think he's amazing, but I don't know what he's going to be like in real life.
Totally.
I was like preparing myself mentally like, if he ever like wanted to like swing on me, which we all know is dumb, he would never do that. He's a UFC fighter. Like,
of course
they
not.
don't fight outside of the ring. But like, I was like, I just have to at least let him know that I'm not scared.
Yeah. Alpha. Yeah.
Then he's not coming, and Michael Bisping's coming. That's like a hell of weight classes up higher, and even more abrasive like personality. And I was just like, there's gonna be one point where maybe we don't agree, and maybe.
Yeah.
Something might go down.
Totally.
He was awesome. He was cool. We all gelled. And then one day I was like, I was in my groove. JV was gone. Bob wasn't on set that day. It was just kind of me running it with the director. And the director had already trusted me after we were there for like 6 months.
Totally,
it
yeah.
was
so
like
you get a flow.
5.
They trust you, yeah.
And sometimes when you're on a set, like you can't just go to Video Village where you see the playback monitors and go back into set, because sometimes it's a closed set. And sometimes because the set walls are so thin, you can just yell over the set door.
Yeah.
But like no matter what.
Give a note. Hey, do this better. Do this. Adjust this.
But no matter what, when you have to kind of raise your voice to give a note over a wall, you feel kind of rude. And then when you're taking a note like that, depending on who you are, depending on how that person's tone is, it can come across rude.
Could feel like you're getting barked at.
And you, of all people, know when I talk, I can come off as rude.
Yeah. Especially if you're under a time crunch or on a shot, I can imagine. Yeah.
And this is it came out of nowhere. I was behind playback. We were in the flow, and Bisping was doing some elbow on our stunt guy. And I was like, awesome. I was like, hey, Mike, can you throw the elbow a little bit bigger? And he goes, don't tell me what to fucking do, mate. I know how to fucking throw an elbow. And I looked at our director, and he just looked at me like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
And I just got out of my fucking seat, and I was like, here it goes.
Here it goes.
And I was walking out, and I opened the fucking set door going, hey, man. And he's like, confused, like, what's going on? It's like, hey. I got up to him, and I was like, look, dude, I only give you notes on what you can do to make you look better on camera, because that's all I care about. I want to make you look good. All these people are here to make you look good. I was like, so when it comes to elbows, I have no doubt that you would kill me with one of those. Please don't do it.
Yeah.
I just said, please don't hit me with an elbow. But for camera, I'm your outside eyes, man. You guys gotta trust me, and you gotta let me give you notes.
Yeah.
And it'll just make it flow, okay? And he was just like, I just kind of got in his face, like,
yeah.
Like, you just gotta let me do my job, man. Just do it the way I did it, and then I'll show you the playback.
Yeah.
Then he does a take, 2, comes back out, go play the takes he was doing. He did it, and it was a complete miss. But like the whole time I'm pissing in my pants.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
I'm just like straight up in his face right now.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't even remember it. Maybe he remembers it. But then we showed my take, and then he was like, okay.
He gets it, yeah.
Yeah, he got it then. And then there was like the sigh of relief. And then at the end of the day, he called me, like we were by the trailers, and he called me over. He's like, hey, man, I was just fucking with you, right? And I was like, there was no way you were fucking with me. I was like, yeah. And even if you were, like, I'm 27 right now. Like, I'm trying to prove to these older guys that I know what I'm talking about. And like, not to mention, you're a fight guy. Like, I'm not the biggest fight guy. You got to stay small to trick.
Totally.
Fairly small,
Totally, yeah.
To trick well. So,
he's the 185 champ
oh
at
my
one
God.
point. So he walks around at over 200.
I thought he was going to knock me out.
Yeah, totally.
Because probably even what I was doing here in this chair was not even like to scale.
I'm
so
sure.
I remember being like, fuck it, let's go. You might wake up in the hospital. Yeah. Let's go. Hey.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me like that. I remember saying that. Like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah.
Just, I'm here to help you out, man.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, oh, he might turn around and hit me.
That's crazy.
And that's a big dude.
Yeah. I've had a couple of run-ins, but that's a scary one, especially because those are guys who are in the industry, but they're not always on sets per se. And that's the risk that you run is that like their main job is the UFC. So like he could hit you and be like, oh, well, I'll never work in movies again. I still work in the UFC.
Yeah.
He's not, you know.
Well, also, I mean, by the time those guys usually work in
films, yeah. It's usually at the end
they're
of the career, usually.
already the shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's
You know
your
what I mean?
established
They
name.
already have respect, and nobody wants to piss them off. Whereas, like, when you're a stunt guy, like, even though people think it's the coolest job in the world, the people on set, I feel like, think it's the dumbest job in the world. Like,
Some people, yeah.
Like, yeah, you're like the dumb jocks.
I know a lot of departments look at us as the expensive department that eats up a lot of money and time, and they're very pissed that we're considered cast. We get to park with cast instead of parking crew.
Yeah,
so,
little things like
little
that piss them off.
Yeah.
And so we just try to stay cool. And then your kindness still makes them think of you as like, oh, you're just an idiot or whatever. I don't know. Some people take kindness for weakness, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's also why I'm proud to be the company that I'm with now, which is Dave and Chad, who've been able to push through. And there's a lot of stunt guys turned second unit directors, but I'm proud to be able to have been there and watch the evolution and watch them, you know, just prove that we are more than just people who fall on our faces.
No, you guys, 8711 has single-handedly changed the action game all the way from previs to choreography to, you know, the stuff you guys are doing. So I have a question for you, just as some general advice for people out there. Someone that's looking to get into stunts, what would you tell them to train and work on?
Your hustle. Because people will tell you to hustle, but you can also over hustle. And your friends, when you come to LA, who try to teach you how to hustle, your friends, they don't warn you that you can over hustle.
This is true.
Always.
This is so funny you're saying this right now because I've experienced this lately.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can over hustle. You can over rep a name that, like, you know, I remember one time Travis called me and was like, who's so and so? She says she does the 87 class. She says she's part of 87. And it was like, and then I called him a week later, like, what happened? Well, she's gone.
Yeah.
You know, it was like one of those. It was a weird thing because it was like, what did they say? They said they were this to that and this and that. And I was like, that's a misrepresentation.
Yes.
Because, you know, he was like, I just had to make sure because she said she was a part of the crew and she under-delivered, because when you say a name like that, you're wearing a lot of weight on your shoulders. So it's not even that, like, coordinators talk and they will talk shit about you. It's more like, just watch how you represent yourself.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even myself, we've all had our misrepresentations of ourselves because, you know, in the industry, you still are human and you still have emotions and you still have moods and you still don't know what you're doing. Totally. You still are figuring it out.
We're still humans, yeah.
So if there's anything I could help you figure out before you have to learn on your own, it's you know, it's work on your hustle, because you can over hustle, you know.
Yeah, it's better to under promise and over deliver, than to put up this falsified perception of what you are and the skills that you may not have. You know,
like Brian Sloyer. Never heard this guy talk about anything, even when he's there. He's
quiet, right? Yeah.
And then you like hella videos.
Yeah.
Good videos.
Very
fun
good content.
videos to watch.
Just for those of you out there, that's a compliment to Brian. What he's saying is basically Brian shows up and he's kind of like the quiet ghost. You don't really hear anything. But
I mean, I'm probably quiet now because he's always at Jam.
But he is very much like that. I work with him
personality.
all the time. Yeah. He's one of the most silent guys in the room.
I've never seen him hustle, man.
Yeah.
I've never seen him hustle in the stunt terms of hustle. Like,
of verbally selling himself.
Hey, I'm so-and-so and I can do this. Like, I've never seen him sell himself. He just turns out videos. He gets good groups of people, who are talented and who are down for the cause to make good content and to train. Like, I still train by myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, outside of the classes at 87, I still train by myself because, you know, some people like to have a life too. So,
yeah.
You know, but I feel like that dude is one of those dudes who, like, I've never heard him piss anybody off in the industry. I've never heard him over hustle himself, and I enjoy watching you, man.
Nice,
it's
man.
Cool.
Yeah, shout out to Brian Sloyer. For those of you out there, go check out a short film he just put out called Arthur. It's a really cool like short that they put out that they shot. Yeah. I let them borrow my gimbal for those Steadicam shots. Oh, yeah, you know.
That's why we're still borrowing gimbals.
That's
now?
why I'm. I'm in the special thanks, dog.
Special thanks.
I'm in the special thanks, but yeah, check out
there.
Arthur, man. On his account on YouTube is Sloyer Stunts, and it's an incredibly dope video.
Yoshi.
It's
like the
cool.
prettiest Asian guy.
Yeah, starring Yoshi Sudarso, who some of you may recognize as the Blue Power Ranger from 2 seasons ago.
Yeah. And Jaquan. Jaquan is like, if I could say, the Morgan Freeman of stunts. Meaning like Jaquan only plays Jaquan in every Brian Sloyer film.
Jaquan, though.
He's just you don't see him as any other character in any of the shorts. He just shows up and it's Jaquan.
He's Jaquan, yeah. That's really funny.
I feel like in like 30 years, you'll just have a massive library of Jaquan doing fights in Sloyer films.
He's like Bolo. He'll just be the Jaquan guy. That's funny. Well, all right. So besides over hustling, just because I know people just want to hear this from your mouth, how much are you training these days? How much is Jeremy in the lab training on your own? Because we see these videos on Instagram. We see you still smashing these tricks. You were featured on the Jam Breakdown last week.
What?
The best of the week.
What?
Which means you didn't watch it, so thanks a lot, Jeremy.
Dude. In prep, man, it's like a full day.
No, but
I've been absent. Like I even put up a little Rise Hyperhook challenge video, and I haven't even put out the little compilation of the submissions.
But we're seeing you still out there putting out clips here and there. How much are you still training on your own? And
when I'm not working, I still go to 87. I'll smash a quick CrossFit workout at 6 a.m. I'll do Chad's class at 7:30. So from 6 to 7:30, I'm working out with a couple of my guys that I train with. And then I'll do jiu-jitsu. After the 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock class, I'll do jiu-jitsu from 9 to 11. And then after that, I'll do like my extracurricular stuff, whether it's boxing or kicking.
Yeah.
Sometimes tricking. I don't trick as much because of my ankle. And like basically I still go to 87 from about, I'll be there from 6 a.m. till at least 1:30 or 2 o'clock.
Totally.
If I don't have to work or go somewhere. And
that's 8 hours, y'all.
Yeah.
Like for those of you not doing math out there, and the reason why I want you to hear this is because this is a guy whose IMDb credits speak for themselves, but he's still training 8 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, Chad Stahelski said it to me when I first showed up. One time I was resting on the floor and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "Resting, sir?" He's like, you're 20 years old. What the fuck do you need rest for? I was like, and I just remember sitting there like, "Do you see what you have me doing?"
Exactly, dude.
And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Is training for 8 hours a day too hard for you?" He's like, once your career takes off, you're making as much as a doctor. You didn't have to go to school for 10 years. You didn't have to hustle to look for a hospital to hire you.
Totally.
You just show up out of high school, you have a GED, and you're making as much as a doctor before you even hit 25. He goes, "What's your excuse for not working 8 hours a day?"
100%.
And then, he was like, whether it be martial arts, whether it be working out, whether it be learning cars, fire, editing, shooting. A lot of it was like shooting training back in the day. It was like you should treat at least 8 hours of your day, you should treat like work towards your craft.
Yep. That's crazy, man. I've never heard Chad say that, but I use that analogy all the time with people that are getting into the industry. I try to tell them, if you want to make as much as a doctor, think about how much schooling they went to, what process they have to go to before they're actually a doctor. And I also ask people like, how much did you train for high school sports?
Yeah.
Are you training less than you did for high school sports? And the answer most times is yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that's the case, how can you expect to get anywhere when you're putting in less time now for your career than you were doing as one of 6 activities in high school? Exactly. Yeah.
And I think, maybe I'm still young mentally or something, but I still feel like I can always be replaced.
We can.
And that's the number one thing is always learning. Like, I think everybody always knows it, but it takes certain experiences to actually understand. Like, because when you're hot on your own sauce and like you like, I'm nice, and everybody,
we've all been there.
Hey, if you have never had a moment where you're like, I'm nice at what I do, then you're not doing the shit you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, you should get to that level where you actually feel. Yeah.
This is like when Bruce Lee would say, like, they were like, how good are you? He said, well, if I say I'm good, I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm not good, I'm fucking lying.
Yeah.
So it's that balance of that,
Yeah.
And, but in the end of the day, like, you experience this more. You experience this more when you get jobs, and then you have to turn down other jobs.
Yeah.
Because you get a call and you go, and you're training all your hardest to be able to do these certain jobs, and then you find out 5 months later who replaced you, and you're like, that's who did the job, and they did great.
Totally.
Like, I could have trained half what I trained and still done better than that person.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I have an ego. And then you shut yourself up. But like, I guess what I'm getting at is I still feel like I can be replaced. So, because movies, like Chad said before to me, movies have been here for 100 years before I came around. Yep. And they'll be here for hundreds of years longer after I'm gone. So, if I don't train, the next person will.
Totally. Yeah, there's always a new generation. Like we talked about earlier in the day, Shosei's 14 years old. Clearly, he's doing tricks that you never thought were possible, and you're the guy that back in the day was doing tricks no one thought was possible.
Yeah.
So there's clearly an evolution of the game, where you have to stay on top of it, otherwise you'll get passed.
Well, science is so crazy now. Science and technology. Like, when we came up, like, we were there when there was no YouTube. And then we were there when there was YouTube. Totally. We were like, well, that's cool. And we didn't really understand what was going to happen. I feel like you did. You always did.
A little bit, but not really.
You always kind of did because you were going to capitalize on it somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway, that Travis Wong was going
totally.
to.
And I remember this. Yeah. We were back in the day when you couldn't film on your phone, so much so that you and I bought a ghetto HD little camera 11 years ago. These little horrible little
like
handy cams.
Or?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But that was literally to the point when you had to buy a camera in order to film.
Somebody's laughing like, I used to have high 8. And that's what I started on. Exactly. I had an high 8 camera with tape. So to your older generation, I respect you and love you. Thank you for everything you've done.
It's too good.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's always, and you know what? Before I used to be so afraid of like, oh man, one day I'm not going to be the shit anymore. I'm not going to be one of the best or deemed one of the best. So I have to keep training so I can still do that. And then eventually you just go like, man, like, I need to know how to be the best in other ways so we can help these guys. Because I realized back when we had the potential to be the best, or we were seen as the best at what we did, we didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know what to do with it. Well, like, teach seminars and then maybe do some commercials or something, And then now we see it, and you're like, I'm still young, but I feel like an old guy watching the new guys who are like, what do we do?
I mean, there's finally, when we first came out to LA, we talked about this with Kyle Cordova. We used to have to go to the B-boy auditions. Now, literally, you can go to an audition for trickers. Yeah. You can go to an audition for parkour guys.
That's cool.
So it's like we help pave a path for newer generations, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To have the opportunity to pursue this.
There's so many people, too, right after us who didn't realize, like, they were getting direct books because we were just passing their numbers in the dance world.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know who would admit that on your show, but yeah, it was happening. They just came in and thought they were hot, like, eee.
Stuff was crazy back in the days with a lot of things. We came in a really cool pivotal time where we got to see a lot of things changing in the guard in the industry, both in stunts, both in tricking. So right now, what's your 5-year plan and what's your 10-year plan?
Oh.
What's next? Are you staying in stunts?
Dude, I thought I had a whole plan before. Now the plan is to survive and just keep like bettering myself. I don't know what that is. I've always wanted to be a second unit director, so that's kind of where I'm headed.
Okay.
Whether it's going to take 5 years or 10 years, I feel like I have more than enough resources and damn good mentors and people who paved the way, and people like JJ Perry who you know helped me out a lot, and just like not even just real like. It's so cool being over there, man. Like, you get all those guys who will teach you something new in different ways. And, JJ is one of those guys who will teach me, like, oh, you have more than just tricking for yourself, but you got to find a way to apply it. And you know what? You can do it while being a good person, too. Totally. But, yeah, so, like, the 5-year plan is learn more, really, to be honest, because I feel like when you do stunts for a long time, you decide you want to make more content of your own. You hit a point where you think you know everything about filmmaking, and you can critique everybody. We were just critiquing something today. After watching Brian Sawyer's short, I was critiquing with a room full of people, and at the same time, I was like, no, dude, like, that's easy for us to say over here, making money, like, critiquing, but when's the last short you shot?
Where you gathered people together.
Where you got that many people together.
To buy into your thing, yeah, totally.
To do it for free and like made it fun and obviously keep people coming, you know, and just like, and then somebody was like all about the money about it, and then like, well, none of them are making money. I'm like, I mean, dude, I was never supposed to make as much money as I have now, so we're ahead of the game.
Yeah, and you never know.
Even if I lose it all right now, I'm still ahead of the game.
He could literally Arthur could get seen, and he could jump to direct a first unit film before all of us. Yeah, you know that happened. Lynn Oding was a stunt guy who put out a short film. He's now directing first unit on everything. Yeah, so bangering. We got our own path. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, the plan is to move up to second unit directing as soon as I can, whenever I can, and the other plan is to be ready for it, because I know a lot of people who like get the opportunity first, but they're not ready for it.
Shit the bed. Yeah, totally.
So I think that's what's really important is really keeping myself trained. I always said, like, when I hit 45, 50, I still want to be able to do stunts, but not have to.
Yeah, have the choice.
Yeah.
Will you still trick at 50?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
All kinds of tricks.
Oh, snap.
Always.
Okay. All right.
We'll see. I mean, by 50, they'll be able to, like, give me
They may give you a whole new body.
And
that's
I might
what I'm
be
saying.
super rich by then. So
watch out for the second coming, y'all. We may just come back.
Dude. You never know. Triple cork swing through, double full in, back out, double back out.
Because if there's one thing that 14-year-olds don't have that we have is we got money. We can buy a new body. Damn!
He didn't even blink when he said that.
Wow. Oh, no, I'm just kidding, man.
Wow.
Well, yo, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come by here. And this isn't the only time I want to have you on here. There's so much more I want to talk to you about and go over.
I appreciate you calling me.
Yeah, I definitely want to bring you back. And we have a couple things coming up where we're going to watch battles live, where we like watch tricking battles and have like little companions. No, but we're just going to react to them. But I think it'd be cool to get your perspective when we do those. So,
okay. Yeah, that'd be cool. It'll be one of those things because we used to watch like all the older guys critiquing battles, and then we'd be like, they don't know what they're looking at.
Exactly.
But I feel like
we
that's
could be those guys. Yeah.
But like, still, will somebody please answer, like, how is there nobody who like teaches kicking? Like, in the tricking world. Like, that's all I want to ask.
I'm dead. I mean, so dead.
You know, aside from the Koreans.
Yeah. There has been a lack of emphasis on kicks, that's for sure. There's been some groundbreaking moves, but I will say this. If my one criticism of Shosei, and I'm going to put this out there right now, is Shosei could improve his kicks, just like we used to criticize Guthrie.
Guthrie came back and shoved it in our faces.
Guthrie disappeared and came back and was like, blah, blah.
Pinto did too.
Mm-hmm. We used to make fun of all their floppy-footedness stuff. Yeah. Andrew Franklin used to make fun of the floppy foot.
Yeah, he had a floppy foot, but he always had the like natural like hip position. Yes,
he did have the right hips.
He had the natural flow for kicks because you could tell he appreciated them. Like Pinto didn't appreciate him until we fucking smacked him around. Made him, roasted him so many times just with kicks alone. Because we would battle him like it was Jacob Pinto's training to battle us.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
like he would show up to White Lotus and like start talking shit, and we would just battle him, like, and roast him at like horse and any other way.
100%.
And he would just like, oh God, like that. Imagine like showing up to your UFC gym and just like being like 12 years old, getting your ass whooped. Like obviously you wouldn't, like, they wouldn't hit you full out, but like imagine if like somebody was just smashing you across, just until you got good. That's what we did.
There were crazy times during that time. That was a time where it was pre-work, so it was just about training really more than anything, Yeah,
man. And
that's something I wanted to leave us on. So, Sam, can you just play this last video really quick? The one that says sail. The one right before it, that one.
Look at that hair.
Look at this hair, man. So I just wanted to end this on this, man. Just taking a look at this. This sampling meant a lot to me because this was basically right around the time when you moved down to LA. This was 2011, so this is a couple years after, but this was just flashbacks to a lot of the times where it's you doing solo sessions at 87, us training at White Lotus, and I don't know, to this day, some of the craziest moves are landed in here.
That's so funny.
So crazy. And what's funny is you'll see little Pinto in the background of some of these,
Go.
Look at this.
Oh, this was at like 8 a.m. by myself.
I know. Look at the dub swing.
Like nobody was there yet. Look how empty.
And I remember this. This was the night that you came in and tied yourself double backs.
Yeah, I just decided one day that I was going to land it.
I remember you put a resi pit out and we were like, oh, what is he learning? Oh, this is ridiculous. The 1260 is on both sides to the snapu.
Oh, I did that.
You did that. You also did 1260 swing through box cutter on both sides.
That's cool.
And I know because I'm the guy in the background filming, or I'm the guy that runs up and is like, yeah, there I am in the back in the white shirt.
I should do this movie.
Crowd awakener snapu. See, that was me that jumped up.
Hell yeah.
I swear there's another where I run into you. It's got to be this one.
That was pretty smooth.
1260's bow. See, that was me that ran in.
Yeah, man, this was some fun times. Man.
I was basically the cheerleader.
Love that shirt. I had that shirt framed in my apartment at one point.
The archback squirrel full snapu, man. Oh.
Double cork round. That's cool. Oh, whose camera was that? I don't think that was mine.
That could have been Dustin's.
I was just tricking with people.
I think that was El Dente's.
I would every time people would come into sessions with
look
the
at little
camera,
Pinto.
I would grab it and trick with it in my hand, and people would be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, you've always been able to trick with objects in your hands, though.
That sounded weird.
No, a
trick is something a whore does for money.
I could have burned you, but I didn't pull up the tutorial where you teach holding a hot dog.
Oh, was it? I thought it was a hamburger.
No, it's a hot dog. I think. I don't know. It could be a hamburger, but I swear, yeah.
Oh, I comboed that.
Yeah, you did.
Dude, there's some stuff here that I forgot.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's a lot of people need to see these videos because the level of moves are still holding up to this day and age, 9 years ago.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and
man.
hopefully people stayed tuned to watch the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, man.
That's fun.
No, that's cool, man. No, I appreciate it, Jeremy. We'll definitely have you back at some time. Real quick, though, shout out to people where they can follow you online because I know people want to stay up to date with your career and your tricking.
Follow me at JermSkills, JERMS Skills.
We'll put it on the screen, baby. We got technology.
If you need fly gear, cool, dope stuff.
Yeah. Shout them out.
Shout out my family. They take care of us, and they always hook up our actors and hook us up with really good stuff. So check them out and use my discount code JeremyFly if you want some monies off the top. I mean, that's weird. I wish I didn't say that.
You can't teach hard, but you can buy the T-shirt. You can buy the T-shirt. Awesome,
you can,
brother.
yeah. You know what I mean?
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming by, Jeremy, especially right after work. I know you have a busy schedule, and I know the people out there really appreciate it because the request we've been getting the most is you, Anise, and Danny. So we got 1 out of 3 done. Now we just got to suck the other ones in now that you've been on here. I can bait them into it. So.
And eventually get all 3 of them.
We'll have to do a battle companion with all 3 where we'll watch the battles. Then we can have beers.
Do it, though, like, we can't be so official. We have to
we can have beers at that one. And,
but we have to have, like, love sacks or something. I'll bring one. It would be super cool.
It'd be cool. Yeah,
and then you gotta have like a daycare area because they all got kids.
Oh, they all got kids. I forgot. Yeah.
I'll bring my dog.
We can let them play with our dogs.
We should just have like a barbecue too at the same time. Yes. We should have a barbecue and like have all of our friends over while we're doing it in the middle of it.
It's so funny. You know, you're getting older. We're talking about having a barbecue to reminisce.
I love barbecues.
Used to be clubs and parties.
It's still clubs and parties.
Only on weekends.
Just gotta, train strong and drink strong.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this. Special shout out to Jeremy for taking the time out of his day to come through here. I hope you guys really enjoyed some insight onto his career in tricking, how to get into the stunt world, and a little background on being a part of 8711, which is probably hands down, like we said, heralded as one of the top stunt teams in the world. So be sure to follow Jeremy online to check up and stay up to date on all of his stuff. For all of you guys here, be sure to leave a comment below for any guests that you want to see on the JAMCast. We've been getting a great response, and we're going to continue to pump out these videos. So be sure to stay tuned. Every Monday, we have a weekly jam breakdown that looks at the top videos in parkour, breakdancing, and tricking. And then every Friday, we'll release our JAMCast here on YouTube, and we're also on all platforms from Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes podcasts. So with that being said, thanks for joining us. A special shout out to Jeremy for coming through. Much appreciated to him.
The creator of Jam, Jeremy Marinas, by the way. I'm still waiting for my paycheck. I forgot
about that royalty that he's always asking for. And man, we really appreciate it. We'll have Jeremy back in the near future. And special shout out today, we didn't have Paul Whitecotton helping us out, so special shout out to Sam Parham helping us produce behind the cameras today. Go follow his stuff online. Check out his socials here below and all the projects he has going on. He has a new show called $1 Million Mile, produced by LeBron James, coming out right now, so go check that out on primetime television. On behalf of myself, my name is Travis Wong. Shout out to Sam Parham behind the cameras. Special shout out to Jeremy Marinas, our guest for the day. Be sure to leave a comment below. Send us a message to videos@thejamcast.com. And until next time, we will see you guys soon.
Us.
Peace.